Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to bring you guys another review. This time I wanted to prioritize a character that is very expensive to get, but a character that a lot of people have been talking about because he's new, because he costs as much as Thanos, and because he's Odin with the beard. So we're going to get into what makes Odin so great, some of the hidden features of this character, and why you should invest in him if you are a high level player who already has a lot of other notable investments. Sorry new players, sorry free to play players. It's going to take you a long time of either playing the game or grinding for resources to get anywhere near Odin. If you need an example, he takes as much black antimatter as Thanos to complete, so that's about 9,000 of the black antimatter at rank 1, and about 20, I think it's 2,500 diversity stones to master, and then a shit ton of bios. So let's get into what makes the character so great, primarily with the skills. Then we'll talk about gears, obelisks, and ISOs, and then we'll talk about other game modes that you can use him in reliably. The really cool thing about Odin is that his attacks all come from his Odin sword, so they've got really cool animations, and most of them has a pierce feature that's really fun. So we're just going to go in the Dark Advent and test this out for you guys. His 1-star skill is just a very simple slash, but as you can see, it pierces all the way down the screen, so it just keeps going to infinity. It's fucking awesome, and it cleared all these mobs in one shot. The damage is great, but the pierce is really what makes it an excellent skill, especially to deal with a lot of mobs, especially to do a lot of damage in World Boss Invasion and in Alliance Battle, and Extreme Mode, of course. Odin's 2-star skill is only a single target attack. It doesn't have any pierce, but it jumps up for 2 or 3 slashes there. It's not that bad, just whatever skill. The magic with Odin really starts to happen with his 3-star skill, however. As you guys can see, he kind of jumps up and does this Super Saiyan whatever charge up, and he gets this big bubble around him with a guard for 3 hits. In fact, it's not a guard for 3 hits, it's a little bit more than that. So what's really special about this skill is that Odin's 3-guard hit will keep regenerating if it gets depleted. So as you can see here, when I cast the skill and then I come back over here, I'm getting hit and the 3-guard is dropping to 2, back up to 3, down to 1, back up to 3. And so it doesn't guard indefinitely, but it almost guards indefinitely, especially if I was attacking these mobs. They wouldn't last very long because Odin's damage is so insane. And the refresh bubble is regenerative. It keeps coming back. So it's really good for the whole time that it's on, and it's an excellent skill for any kind of co-op modes, especially World Boss Invasion. You can carry shitty players with this bubble because it will also apply to them, so even if they're face tanking morons with Crossbones or Hulk, you can still save them from themselves by using that skill when it's off cooldown. Odin's final 2 skills deal a lot of damage. His first one, his 4-star skill, is basically the 1-star skill on steroids. It deals 2 of those waves that pierce again to infinity, which is fantastic. Again, great for clearing mobs, great for dealing pierce damage to a lot of enemies. And then his 5-star skill is probably the most useful. He jumps up, gives himself 3 seconds of immunity, and then drops down. As you can see, those white slashes continue to slash even after Odin has stopped the animation. So it leaves this like lingering damage effect. It's kind of like a dot damage, but it's much stronger than most dot damages, and it looks super cool. So in all, Odin has a 3-second immunity that he can trigger anytime that he wants on his 5-star skill called Odin Force. He's also got the Asgardian Barrier, which guards for 3 hits every 2 seconds, and that refreshes if it ever gets depleted for the duration of the skill's effect, which is fantastic. And it also applies to your teammates, which is fantastic. Super fantastic, actually. And then he's also got a couple of other notable things. His Odin's Decree 4-star passive is probably one of the best in the game. It gives him a native 30% damage reduction to all damage received, which is insane. And it's part of the reason that Odin is probably the tankiest character in the game, if not the second tankiest character in the game behind Thanos, when Thanos gets lucky with his Mad Titan 4-star passive. As well, Odin, most notably and most touted, especially for PvP, has the tier 2 passive where he increases his skill damage and bonus damages, whatever, but it's the cancel resist that he gets to try to make him kind of a Doctor Strange counter. Thank you for the Dimension Rift. a Doctor Strange counter, an Enchantress counter, and stuff like that, because he cannot be debuffed and he can't be like messed with in that way. As well, Odin's leadership gives a remove debuff similar to like Malekith and Wasp's leaderships or tier 2 passives, and then he's got an all resistance 30% boost, which is really good if you're facing any elemental characters or just characters that deal different types of damage. So all in all, Odin, because of his kit, is extremely tanky, very difficult to kill. He can solo the story missions late in the chapter, and he can do very well in basically any mode you put him in. Let's take him for a quick spin in World Boss. It's kind of a joke now. World Boss is not very difficult, but we're just going to put him with 2 junky characters. That'll work. And we're not going to give him any strikers, and we're just going to see how he performs. I don't think this is going to last more than like a minute and a half. The only time that Supergiant's going to be able to not take hits is when she gets that energy damage immunity bubble. So it's kind of redundant to cast the shield and then do the 5-star skill, because I've got the guard and the immunity. But as you can see, even without any help, even without an leadership that deals damage, because Odin's leadership doesn't deal damage, Odin does massive hits. All of his attacks have a high skill damage, so they're going to do a ton of damage even without the right boosts. So here she's going to, be able to give us a little bit of a problem. Basically, the only thing that's going to make this fight any difficult is the fact that Odin doesn't have any native healing on his character. That's basically the only thing that Odin is missing, whereas someone like Doctor Strange has healing with his uniform, and Thanos has healing with his Mad Titan passive. The reason I keep comparing Odin to Doctor Strange and Thanos is because the cost of getting Odin is so high that he is often considered to be in that tier of, like God tier, like double S tier, whatever kind of rank you want to call it. There we go. We didn't even last a minute there. No energy leadership, no damage leadership, no strikers, no team up bonuses, or I think there was one team up bonus actually. Elektra and Nebula have a pretty good team up bonus, but other than that, very, very easy and super safe. Odin is probably about as safe to play as someone like Thanos with all of his iframes, except instead of iframes, Odin has damage immunity and a refreshable guard. It's not as good for Extreme Alliance battle because iframes help you dodge the meteors, but Odin is a universal hero, so he immediately becomes the best character for the Universal Hero Day. People can clear Universal Hero Extreme Alliance Battle Day with Odin and get, over 150,000 points. I can comfortably get about 120 playing badly with a suboptimal Obelisk. But as you can see, there's basically no mode where Odin is bad. He's especially good, as I mentioned, in World Boss Invasion, because he'll help you carry your shitty teammates with his Asgardian barrier that will protect them from themselves, especially on the shared HP mode that frustrates the hell out of so many people. Finally, let's look at Odin's gears, obelisks, and ISO preferred setup. Odin's got some pretty good native stats here that make him quite tanky. He doesn't have defense penetration, but he does have skill cooldown, HP, all defense, and all attack, which is fantastic. The main stats are just rolled as you would probably have guessed them, with a mix here at the end to try to max out both skill cooldown and defense penetration. It's not very difficult to max out Odin's skill cooldown because he's got it native on his stat. So you want to roll for an ISO 8 set that's an attacking set that has defense penetration on it and not skill cooldown. So you don't want to go for Hawk's Eye. You want to go for Overdrive or Power of Angry Hulk. I don't think that Odin needs a healing ISO set, especially because you're losing that all attack buff, which is going to be really helpful for those 20 seconds versus that one-time heal. Finally, you have an Obelisk, and here's where you can get into the heals if you really suck at playing Odin. I do right now, so I do have a healing Obelisk on him. However, I think the ideal for Odin would be a damage proc Obelisk with defense penetration if your defense penetration is not capped, or something like crit damage if it is, maybe immune to guard break. He doesn't get guard broken that often, but he can, especially on his 5-star skill Odin Force, because it's got a bit of a wind up, and if you lose the damage from Odin Force, it's really going to hurt your scores, especially in Extreme Alliance battle, because that skill does so much damage. So you can think about doing that. But for now, I just have the healing Obelisk to cover up Odin's basically his only weakness, which is the fact that he can't heal himself if he gets injured, like the other mega tier characters can. So that's the Obelisk setup for Odin. Just considering how you play, you know, adjust your Obelisk based on that. Overall, I think that Odin is a lot better than he was originally touted. I think that he has a lot of usefulness, especially in Extreme Alliance battle, especially in co-op modes. If they start to introduce more difficult co-op modes or more mandatory co-op modes, Odin's value is only going to increase because of his Asgardian barrier. That skill is probably one of the best co-op skills in the game. It's very similar to like Wasp's 6-star skill, where you can help out the whole team by just dropping that bubble there and protecting everybody from damage. So look out for Odin if the game becomes more co-op oriented and if it keeps going down the road of like world boss invasion and stuff like that. But as well, Odin is extremely good for PvP because he's super tanky. The AI plays him well from everything that I've seen. He's got multiple defensive skills, the passive, the cancel resist to counter Doctor Strange. And so you see Odin a lot, not here because this team's a fucking joke, but you see Odin a lot in PvP modes where he's available. You see him a lot in Shadowlands King of the Hill because he's just such an excellent character. And although not many people have him, I do still see him a lot in Timeline Battle in the Vibranium League because he's just that good. So overall, I would say that while Odin falls short of Thanos and Doctor Strange, he's comfortably behind them. He's not very far away at all. And I think if just a couple more game modes prioritize co-op over single player things, and if they don't require as much healing or as much survivability in that sense, then Odin will probably take the cake or at least move into the second place comfortably. He's almost tied with Thanos, but I think Thanos still has some more usefulness with his leadership and the iframes. So we'll have to see how that plays out later on. But contrary to what a lot of people believed about Odin being useless and not being a good investment for his cost, I think that he is. Granted that you already have either Thanos or Doctor Strange. I don't necessarily think you need to have both already because Thanos and Odin kind of do the same things, except that Thanos doesn't really help for Extreme Alliance Battle Day. Odin does. So having said that, I think that once you get Doctor Strange, it's kind of a toss-up on who you want. Granted, you've already gotten people like Proxima and Corvus who are kind of mandatory Black Order characters to get because of their usefulness in the game. So those are my thoughts on Odin. That's the review. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you feel about this bearded giant. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.